Hello everyone! Welcome back to a Marvel's Avengers themed video. Today's going to be a bit of a longer video, but it's going to be covering essentially all of the Square Enix Presents section of the E3 gaming convention. That was really cool. I've never done that. Why am I only now learning you can hop the fence as Iron Man? That is awesome. So yeah, I'm going to be playing a Hive in the background just as some background video, but E3, that's the topic for today.
Get me to that terminal and I'll get us inside.
Loaded into the mission, about to start the Hive. Let's go ahead and start talking about the stuff. So, just to clarify one more time, this video is only talking about E3 Square Enix Presents. Not all of E3, not the Xbox section or the Nintendo Day. This is only about the Square Enix Presents. I will only be talking about the Marvel's Avengers section, as well as the Square Enix in collaboration with Marvel review. In fact, let's start with that reveal. So the first thing we need to talk about is the reveal, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. Square Enix is making a Guardians of the Galaxy game, and it's going to be single-player, story-driven, playing entirely as Star-Lord. From what we can tell, this game appears to be more like a Telltale game, where it looks like you're making choices and then playing the game off of those choices. There was one part in the trailer where you have to choose between, I guess, just putting Rocket or Groot in a crate, and then that will determine how the story plays out. You actually had a choice. It wasn't, who do you believe, and then your character chooses it. As the player, you get to make that decision for the game. So it looks like a pretty cool game.
Understood.
Another thing we can know about that game is that it looks like the way the game is made with the character models, it looks like a very similar style to Marvel's Avengers. In fact, the third-person combat system that we saw a brief glimpse at, it was really reminiscent of the way the combat system, well, not the combat system, but the way the combat looked is very reminiscent of Marvel's Avengers. And if this is what we think it is, there's a chance that in the future we could be getting a Guardians of the Galaxy expansion. Maybe if there's a lack of content like there was this year, maybe down the road, if one of their major content pieces gets pushed back, they can release Guardians of the Galaxy as a backup DLC. Or maybe not even as a DLC, maybe just as playable characters. Because it looks like a lot of people, well, mainly it's the community, but it looks like the community is 50-50. Half the people care about the story, the other half care about the content. I am in the middle. I want new content, but I also want it to make sense. But that's a separate video. For now, let's stay focused on Guardians of the Galaxy. It looks like we could have a collab coming up. I'm not going to say we are because I don't run Square Enix, I don't know. But the game looks really interesting with the way it's made. Of course, the characters are all original designs. But this is now the second Square Enix game. Maybe we could be getting a MGU, essentially, Marvel Gaming Universe, for Square Enix. That would be pretty interesting, especially since it would have a whole nother layer to the Avengers game. So that's it for Guardians of the Galaxy. If you would like to see me cover it on the channel, let me know now, because that game is releasing in October, and I will be playing it as soon as it releases. So if you want to see me play it, let me know now, and I'll make plans to add that to the filming schedule. That's going to be it for Guardians of the Galaxy. Next up, let's start talking about the brand new villain sector coming this Tuesday, which is, of course, the Cosmic Cube. Well, it's not Cosmic Cube, it's called Beating the Odds, but it's the Cosmic Cube event. So, all we know about the Cosmic Cube, we know pretty much what's going to happen. We're just very limited on how it's going to play out. It looks to be more than the Tachyon Anomaly event, which really didn't give anything other than a couple of missions that were just the exact same missions, just lower power level, but less than Red Root. That's all we know. At least that's what it looks like. So the way it's described is that the first thing we need to note is that this is all following the storyline of Project Omega. For any of you who need to get caught up, the way it's going to work is Project Omega was Monica's big project for AIM after the Reassemble campaign. Then, after Kate Bishop's DLC, we got a glimpse at her time traveling, going into the future. This was her planning for Project Omega. She needed more help. With Clint's DLC, we got a glimpse at actual Monica. And the important thing to note here is that the Monica we saw in Clint's DLC was present-day Monica, not future Monica. The Cosmic Cube froze her and Fury in time.
I'll get you past security.
And that's why they've been so hard to find. The Storm has essentially caught them. Let's say Storm, really a Surge has caught them. And they're stuck there. Now that we're caught up, let's just take a look at what it says here for the description. In beating the odds, which is the new villain sector, we'll track down Monica's secret weapon by following traits of cosmic energy. Following trails of cosmic energy. So once we get to the end of the trail, we're going to be fighting Monica herself. And the Scientist Supreme is her name. So it looks like Monica has moved on from just leader of AIM to now leader of Project Omega, Scientist Supreme. And here's what we have information-wise. The new villain sector, Beating the Odds, will be available on June 22nd and can be played with any hero power level 35 or up. We'll be able to find this villain sector in the snowy tundra. So I originally thought that this was a rotating villain sector, however, I may be wrong. Now, the next thing you know is that there is a mission chain for this DLC. We're going to be getting one hero set gear for the hero I'm assuming you beat the mission with, one DNA key, 3 polycorin, and 1 piece of gear scaled to your hero. There's going to be, it says a weekly mission chain, which I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's until the event ends. The weekly mission chain, which by the way, it says the event ends. I don't know if we're going to be no longer able to play the Beating the Odds villain sector. I'm really hoping that this would be a permanent villain sector, and that the missions that come along with the villain sector would be going, I don't know. I'm really hoping this isn't an entire thing that's gone because of live service features. But once you complete the weekly mission chain, you're going to be getting scaled gear. You're going to be getting 15 polycorin, 1 DNA key, and another piece of scaled gear. And then with this DLC, like I just mentioned, we're going to be getting different missions. There's going to be 1 mission per hero in the game, which will give you a Tachyon Exotic if you're power level 120 or higher. And then a major mission called a Cosmic Threat. This mission will require you to beat the new villain sector, defeat a large number of enemies, and deal cosmic damage. So I don't know what exactly it's going to be. It looks like these are mission chains, but they just say mission. But once you get it done, regardless of what it is, you'll get a new animated team nameplate and a bunch of power gear. Power scale gear. Overall, it looks to be a good amount of content. However, I don't know how long it's going to last. Because villain sectors, for me, I don't know about everyone else, but personally, a villain sector takes me about 5 minutes to complete. And not the boss fight, just the villain sector. Now, I'm gonna be honest, if it's Maestro's, his is a lot longer. But I'm just so powered up right now that I can really speed through the villain sectors if I really want to. I generally try to just do bare minimum attacks just to enjoy the game. But I can really go through villain sectors quickly. Don't know if that's going to be a problem or not. I'm excited to see what the new events are, like the minor missions and stuff, but then again, those could be mission chains, and they're just not saying that. So, excited for it, just don't know how long it's going to last. I'm just really, really hoping that the villain sector is permanent, not just something we're going to get for a week and then it's going to be gone. But that's it for Cosmic Cube. We're now moving on to the next thing that was revealed, and that was the Wasteland Patrol. Now, technically, this wasn't revealed. We've known this has been coming since the last event, which was the Square Enix present back in March, which I think was another convention. But back in March, when we found out about this, it looked pretty interesting, but we didn't really know anything, and we still won't know a whole lot until the upcoming month. But we have a pretty good gauge of what's happening here. So, the first thing to note is that this mission type will not have a time limit. It is an infinite mission type. So I can get on at 8 and I can just leave it on forever and objectives will keep coming. A couple things they revealed, and really there's only one major thing. There's going to be rotating objectives, but the biggest thing is that there's going to be boss fights. But the one that they showed looked like a Taskmaster boss fight. And this is all in the Wasteland Patrol, or Wasteland, the future Wastelands area. So a pretty big thing there, that we're getting an actual boss that isn't just Maestro. I was worried we were just going to be fighting Maestro a bunch, but this works too. Another thing to note is that the boss fights will be infinite. So if I beat Taskmaster, I could have the ability to fight him again in however many missions there are to come. This wasn't really from E3, but we do know that it will be a pretty big thing. One of the Crystal Dynamic developers, his name is Phil, I believe, and he said that he wants to talk to the people who are in charge of making the game kind of fair, like making it so that you don't get too good gear, too bad gear, or rewards too high or too low. He wants to see if for this mission chain we can get credits as a reward. It should be the first time getting credits other than a challenge card, and other than paying. So there wasn't a whole lot there. In fact, we have a lot more to cover for War for Wakanda than we do for Wasteland Patrol. But I don't really want to touch on the Wasteland Patrol until next month when we have more information and like a deep dive. But for now, that's all I really have to say about the Wasteland Patrol. So a pretty short section, but yeah, that's about it. Next up on the list, which is the last thing, we have the War for Wakanda. And this is an expansion. First thing to note, the most important thing that I want everyone to walk away with on this video is that Kate Bishop had a DLC. Hawkeye had a DLC. They were specifically called Kate Bishop, well not Kate Bishop, it was the Kate Bishop DLC, there was the Taking Aim DLC, and Future Imperfect DLC.
These enemies must be defeated.
War for Wakanda expansion has been called an expansion. And I think the reason for that is if you look at the trailer for War for Wakanda they give, again, in the description, go check it out. That trailer looked like a Black Panther game. There was only like one scene where Iron Man and Cap were in it. That can be a really good thing or a really bad thing. First thing to note, it looks awesome. Really awesome. I have only 2 words for the DLC. Well, really 3 words. I have 3 worries for the DLC, but everything else is positive. So let's get the worries out the way so that I don't sound negative about the DLC. My first concern is what I'm going to refer to them as. My first concern is that the DLC will be very short. So, for example, Kate's DLC, I was able to complete that in 4 hours, and part of that was because my internet was just really slow that day. I was able to defeat Clint's DLC in 3 hours, and that was because my internet was really slow that day. Because I was downloading a lot of stuff, because that wasn't just an Avengers update, that was also a Fortnite update that I wanted to play. If this expansion is hyped up the way it's supposed to be hyped up, then it should not be a 3-hour expansion. In my head, I think that minimum, and this is a lot, but for calling it an expansion, it should minimum be 5 hours, in my mind. I think that is an acceptable time for the DLC, or the expansion, to be played.
Works for me.
My second concern is that it will be Black Panther only. Now, if the expansion is an expansion, and it's a whole separate storyline, like the Reassemble campaign, first, I wonder if it's going to be single player. And that's a separate concern, but I highly doubt it, because it's the last Star Wars multiplayer game. More importantly, I wonder if you're only going to be able to play it as King T'Challa himself. If I can only play as Black Panther, that's really limiting. Because then I can't get Redican. He can't do the DLC with me, or the expansion with me. I won't be able to get, let's say, other people in. Like, I won't be able to matchmake. I won't be able to play as my main character going through it all. It could be a whole big thing. My last concern, other than time and character restraints, is the enemies. And this is more of a visual concern, but like, there are some takedowns that would be really brutal. Like, sorry about the voice part there, but it'd be really brutal to do to a human. Like some of the, I know Cap has one where he breaks off the robot's head. What would happen if that's the only takedown I have equipped on my Cap? How would that work? I don't know, that's just a fun concern. But overall, very positive notes. I am running out of time a little bit here, but there's only a few things we really got information-wise. Was that Claw looks amazing, by the way. Like Ulysses Claw, he looks awesome. Shuri looks really good as a character model. We also have to see, and I'm going to butcher this, but the Dora Milaje, they look awesome. And Okoye looks amazing. Overall, though, I am really excited for this DLC to come out and just be awesome. And it's coming out August. This DLC is coming out this year, August. Overall, though, it was an amazing event, and I can't wait to see what else they have for us. So, that's it. Very positive, few worries overall, but very positive notes. Excuse me. I've been talking for a while. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video of just me talking. I mentioned it earlier. If you want to see me play Guardians of the Galaxy when it comes out, let me know. And if you guys want to, I even get the deluxe edition. So yeah, see you all in the next video.
We need to destroy as many as we can.